everyone, DJ here again. I found something I could document. I kind of ventured into developing for the BlackBerry, and at some point early in this year I kind of got a DAC here, which internally is basically a Q10 with kind of different housing, and I actually don't mind this housing, but it's getting too, it's thicker than the actual Q10, and I thought I really want to hold a Q10 shape. Once again, and I did have a white Q10, but I want to change this one so I kind of have like a white and black one. And today the housing has arrived. This will be my project. All I'm waiting for is the screwdrivers. Once that arrives, I am going to transform this into this, but with the screen, obviously. Right, hi, so I said yesterday, I said that my Q10 housing had arrived, and I was waiting on the tools, and they arrived today. Oh gosh, it was a whole kit of things, but I only actually need one screw from it. 3 came, but I only need, it's a tri-wing screwdriver, 1.5mm size. I got 2 of them. I did actually have the big one before, but I need a 1.5, and now it's time to go from this to this. Okay, so down to the nitty gritty. This is my Dev Alpha C and the housing. It comes in all like this, but obviously you just detach the parts, but we'll go through that when it comes to kind of reassembly, and I'll just go through stripping it down first. So first and foremost, tools. One of the things you do need is, this came in, but I actually don't need it all, but I thought, you know, for in the future I would get one, get a pack. But one of the important things you need, I searched for tri-wing screwdriver, but it's called Y-wing as well, and basically it's got to be 1.5 the tri-wing screw, because I had a bigger one, but you actually need a 1.5 basically. Tri-wing or Y-wing, that works. Wherever you can search them both, and it would be that tool. So tri-wing or Y-wing 1.5. Then you need, in other places, some other places say you need a Torx screw driver, T3 and T4, but I found a T4 works. That's all I needed. I didn't need a T3. Oops, that's not correct. See, I've got a little kit here, but I've had this for forever. But if you don't have, you're looking for a T4. Like other people who have done this project have said T4 and T3, but T4 worked all the way for me, and it's up to you. Then you need some sort of pry tool. I used an old credit card, or guitarists, an old pick. I do have a pry tool somewhere. I think it's to pry kind of this open here, and you're gonna have to take the top off here, and also in the back, kind of when you lift this back panel, you want to use something to help pry open. So pry tool, that's kind of stuff. I've got links and all that jazz. I'll put it all in the kind of video description, and you can probably find it on my blog too. Right, so first thing we need to do is take off the screws on the back. So obviously take out the battery and your SIM card and memory card, if you did have those in. Obviously common sense, but there you go, we just have to say that. Right, so there are 2 screws. Actually there's many screws, but you got 2 here. Those are Torx screws. You got another 2 here, which are Torx screws. So we're going to take those off right now. It's also useful to have some sort of, I don't know, place to put your thing, screws in. Even the back of the DAC would work. So somewhere to put your screws you need. So that's really tiny ones, these. So just remember where they go. These ones are smaller than the smallest of all the Torx screws. These 2 right here, these 2 hold this panel up here. They're the tiniest of the Torx screws. Okay, and like I said, these 2 here are Torx screws. See, they're just just a little bigger, but the rest of the Torx screws are only going to be that, and those two, like I said, are the smallest. There are 3 tri-wing screws, wide-wing screws, 1, 2, and 3. So we take them off. I've got a different container for that one, just so I differentiate them. So okay. But when you took off the first 2 up the top, that could slide that out anyway. So that's the top panel. You won't actually use this again because that's not the shape we want. Right, that's the back done. All the screws out, top panel off. So now it's time to kind of pry the bottom here off, and obviously that top there. It takes a bit of prying. Basically, there are plugs that it is in, but it's also quite sticky as well. That's the same on the bottom corners here and the top corners. There are plugs, and that's where you're going to find some issues. If you do snap them, it's absolutely okay, because it's actually that's not part of the Q10. You can see where that's plugged into here. Oops, you can see here. So if you do snap them, it's not a huge issue. Only if you wanted to put your DAC housing back. I don't know if you would, but basically if you do snap them, it's not a huge issue, but I try and be as kind of clean as possible. So I'm going to pry them off. Okay, so I've managed to kind of pry. It's something you need to kind of be slightly forceful of, but be careful at the same time. But I got a snapped one on one side, and the plug that's from the top here, and the bottom actually is a lot easier to come off. All the plugs are intact there. So yes, that's the top and the bottom off. With the bottom off, you've got 2 screws, oops, there and there. Just gonna point, they're Torx screws. You've got one there, and you got one there. So we're going to unscrew those. Right, so that's off. Your back and all the screws are off, so we can actually pull this off now. We actually have 2 more here. One here, right next to the camera. So camera next to the one, and one here. That's the tri-wing one. So take those off. Sorry, that's the last 2 that holds this panel. Okay, so once you've taken all that out, it's actually pretty easy to take this off. Just help take it off down here. It will come off down here. There we go, and that's kind of the back panel off there. Put that to the side. The actual housing has one of these, because it's got kind of the silver banding, a silver band that goes there between the battery door and that top panel. So the housing that you get from E-Trade Supply the full housing will come with this. And kind of get to kind of taking off the main board here. If you've ever done this kind of stuff before, you know there's flex cables. Flex cables are these kind of things, and they're exactly that, cables that kind of flex. There's a few of them here, and actually first we'll have to unscrew. You see there's these 2 screws up here, either side of the headphone jack. I believe it's the tri-wing. Let me just double check. No, it's Torx T4. So take those 2 off. Just makes things easy to remove. I also forgot to say, the Torx screws from here are the longest ones. So the ones that come here at the bottom, because you will need to have them back later, they're the longest kind of Torx screws, and then the shortest ones were the ones there. So just so you know and remember that those are the longest ones. See, the headphone jack's kind of coming out now. That will come out. That just makes it easy to kind of come away from the housing. There are a few flex cables that you need to actually take off. This one here for the keyboard, you should get a pry tool. I use a guitar pick because it's slightly thinner, but you can get one of these online with the kind of kits as well, these screwdriver kits. But you're just gonna lift it up. There we go, done. You've got one here. Actually, I'm not sure this one's for. I think this is the actual screen, the digitizer. There's one there. There's one right below the camera here. Gonna have to take that off. And here, I think this is the. I'm actually not sure. This is the LED maybe. Anyway, flex cable. That one there. Right. Once you've done that, this is where it starts to get quite interesting, because you can start to lift this off. Actually, what I'm gonna have to do, because this is the keyboard, you're gonna have to actually have to slowly kind of detach this very slowly. So you actually have to take off this sticker. This is a sticker. Okay, so I've kind of unstickered it. It's gonna be a bit of a messy process, and when you put that back, it's gonna not look as neat as it was. But you have to kind of lift it off anyway, because there's a screw here that it reveals that you need to unscrew for the keyboard. So now that that's undone, we can continue to lift this off. It will come away. Just keep going slow. There we go. There we go. That's out. So once you've detached all the flex cables, it's really just the sticker that's holding it. So that's kind of the logic board done. I like to kind of keep that safe. The kind of plastic that you get the housing in, this kind of anti-static, we can just put that in there on top of that and put that aside. Okay, now that motherboard is off, we're going to kind of separate the screen and the keyboard from this kind of housing here. This can actually, you can see that this will start pushing off anyway, right here. So actually, let's just push that off really slowly. Essentially, this housing is going to detach from. Probably help this along by slide it along here, maybe. There we go. Just something here to pry in. This is like the keyboard. Let's come off on that side. Okay, there we go. Oh, yeah. So you don't need that anymore. That's your DAC kind of roundabout. The kind of side bezel. Right. So now we're just going to detach the this from each other. So kind of take this off, because the other screw is actually in there. Under there. Hello. Now, at the beginning, when I said that all you need is a torque screw and a tri-wing, you actually need a 1.5 kind of Phillips screwdriver to take these two out. So that's also what you need. There, and you have to be very careful with these, because these are actually really tiny. Really tiny, even smaller than the other ones. So be very careful with those. Okay, and this will detach from. Okay, let's take that sticker. There we go. Okay, so obviously these are very delicate parts, and we're just gonna go and have a look at the keyboard. Okay, so with the keyboard, kind of just take this off. There we go. It's like I said, you don't want that one. Right. So what you do is from the housing. Okay, this is kind of stripping the stuff together now. I've got all the housing ready. So this is like I've detached how it was as one block. This is the surrounding housing. This is the keyboard with the frets, and then this. No, that's not the one. This this is the housing for the, you can see this is the DAC housing, and this is the housing that comes from the housing when you buy the housing. Just trying to focus on that. Ooh. She's got the silver band, so you kind of want that. So kind of let's put these all together. So the keyboard kind of will go there. You kind of just want to slot that in place. It will go in very nicely. See, that's it. Then you just want to put that flex cable back as well. Just push it in. That's all it needs. Bit of pressure. And you want to kind of connect these together again. Carefully slot the ring into there. Mind my washing machine, it makes a really loud noise, so I'll try and be a lot louder. Just focus this a bit. Can we see? Did I focus that correctly? Right, so very carefully put those tiny screws back. Okay, right, next thing you do is you get the housing here, and you're kind of just going to I'm going to put it in this way. I'm a bit backwards, so we're going to actually have to put it in this way, not through the back, because I had a dumb moment there. Okay, so this side first. Just be careful, just make everything fit very nicely, but also watch that flex cable. You don't want your keyboard to stop working. There we go. Okay, that fits in very nicely. So it's just a process of working backwards now. We want the logic board, so we just put this in as it was and try and get those flex cables kind of in the right place up here. So you should have to forgive my awkwardness, but it will all slot in, and it's just a case of fitting the flex cables back. So just push them in. So obviously that came from here. Just press down. It's there. Then this one. Just press down. It's there. This one. You can kind of sense and feel it going into where it slots in. See, all nicely done. Here, kind of stick this back on. The battery will probably put this back in. We'll kind of hold that down. And also the headphone jack, just make sure that sits in very nicely. So now we just kind of screw everything back in. As it were. So I'm just going to put the headphone ones, and those were Torx screws. Okay, now you want to just put the back panel in, so that's not the right one. You'll make sure you get the one with the silver band there. Okay, bottom in first then, and then just press everything down. And again, we screw the stuff back in. So those were tri-wing at the top there, so you want tri-wing. So one there and one there, and that's tri-wing. So we'll put them back. Okay. Then you probably want to just make sure that one at the bottom zips in. So these ones with Torx screws. Again, forgive my washing machine, but the ones that go here were the longest Torx screws, so be sure to get the longest ones. This is why I said separate your Torx screws from your tri-wing, so that you'll know which is which. Two separate kind of containers to put them in. Okay, that locks in. you're just gonna have to kind of let the battery, or push that down and eventually stick back, or I don't know, put some adhesive. Up to you. Okay, so the back panel, the top panel up there, just slots in, so just put it in flat and you'll see it slip in through there, and the two kind of locks into place there, and you can screw those down. I'll screw them down last, just do the rest. So we had 3 tri-wing screws. Okay, and then you had torque screws, 2 there, and then obviously the 2 smallest ones up there. Okay, right, and the last thing you have is you kind of have the bottom right here. So this just easily slips 2 slots. I would just kind of put it down into there. Just push and it will slot in and fit in very nicely. Okay, and that's kind of it. Now the battery on the Dev C, as you know, has this sponge, and obviously that was to hold that, to keep it in place, because the DAC was the DAC cover was slightly more raised. So you just go ahead and take this off, or you can get yourself kind of, you know, the 2100 hour one, or you can just go ahead and take off the thing, because take off the sponge and kind of just put it in. So that, and then we just get, oh, I didn't put my SIM card or anything back, but then you have the back cover, and of course you know how to put the back cover on. There we go, and there it is, DAC turned into a Q10. Okay, kitties are fighting. Yes, so that is that. Project Dev Alpha C to Q10. Hoo-hey! I've got a nice sexy Q10 now in black. And it's all working, yes. Oh yeah. So there you go. That is it. Project Dev Alpha C to Q10 complete.